Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you for joining us today for the 2017 commencement ceremony for the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston School of Biomedical Informatics, or SBMI, as it is often called. I'm Dean Jiajie Zhang. I'm honored to welcome our 2017 graduates, their family and friends, our faculty and staff, and all guests who are in attendance. I'm happy to have each of you here as we celebrate these 24 graduates. I would like to first introduce the individuals on the stage with me today who are participating in this afternoon's ceremony. I ask that each person stand as he or she is named, and I ask the audience please hold your applause until everyone is called. Dr. Benjamin Chu, President and CEO, Memorial Hermann Health System. Dr. Giuseppe Colasoto, President, the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. Dr. Michael Blackburn, Executive Vice President and Chief Academic Officer, the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, also the Dean of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. Dr. George Stansel, Senior Vice President for Academic and Research Affairs, University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. Dr. Susan Fenton, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, School of Biomedical Informatics. Please stand as Mr. Ryan Bing, the Associate Dean for Management at the School of Biomedical Informatics, gives the invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, as we gather on this day of celebration, we invite you into our presence and ask your blessing on these proceedings. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of students who have learned and grown as they have longed for this moment, the accomplishments of families who've supported these graduates in a variety of ways, the accomplishments of professors who demanded the best of the students in their care, and the accomplishments made possible by mentors who led by example, by spouses who supported and encouraged, and by children who waited. As we look to the future, help us to remember how you have carried us to this point, and please be ever present in our future as we ask for your ongoing wisdom and guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Bing. Every May, at the annual commencement ceremony, we look back at the past 365 days to recognize the academic achievements of our SBMI students. This past year, 41 SBMI students earned their master's degree, and 3 students earned their PhD degree. In addition, 96 students finished their graduate certificate studies in biomedical informatics, and many of them are going to continue in the master's program or potentially even the PhD program. As always, I'm very proud of the students for achieving their goals. To date, SBMI has 34 doctoral alumni, 327 master's alumni, and 299 certificate completers over the past whatever years. So 20 years ago, in 1997, a young lady at the age of 71 was thinking about what to do over the next 20 years. She created a school that brought computer science and information technology to medicine, and she is Dr. Doris Ross, the founding dean of our school. Dr. Ross is a true visionary. 20 years ago in 1997, Google's two founders were still working on their PhDs at Stanford. And in 1997, Steve Jobs was not back to Apple computer yet, and Apple as a company was literally struggling to survive financially. And your iPhone would not be ready for another 10 years. And Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, he was only a middle school boy at that time. So how did Dr. Ross come up with the idea of starting an informatics school? I never got a clear answer before she passed away in 2015. But one thing that I know for sure is that Dr. Ross was a club member of several movie theaters here in Houston, and she went to movies almost every week. And I assume she was a fan of James Bond, and she watched all the Star Trek movies. You may or may not know, many innovations that we have today were literally conceived in Star Treks, including your smartphone, the tablet computer, and the famous all-purpose, all-powerful tricorder that can make all kinds of medical diagnosis. So what happened over the past 20 years? Our student enrollment grew from 14 to 323. That's a 23-fold increase. Guess what? This is on par with the performance of Apple Computers stock, which had a 24-fold increase during the same time period. So the past 20 years are truly an age of acceleration, not just for our school, but for the entire human civilization. By 2003, the entire human civilization created 5 exabytes of data, 5 with 18 zeros. In 2011, the same amount of data was created in 2 days, and today, in 2017, it takes 1 minute. 10 years ago, only about 10% of medical records were on computer, and today it's almost 100%. And 15 years ago, the cost of sequencing one person's genome was sufficient to buy a Boeing 737. And today, you can trade your iPhone for your own personal genome. And in about 10 years, 20% of world population's genomes will be sequenced. Today, 40% of the world population have smartphones, and it will double in several years. A smartphone you have today is 5 or more times more powerful than the most powerful, fastest supercomputer Cray in 1975, which was used to do the rocket design, weather forecast. So literally today in your pocket, you have 5 supercomputers that can do almost anything that you can imagine. So the last 20 years are also an age of disruption. So I'm holding my phone now. I use it when I walk, when I stand, when I sleep, when I eat, even when I meet with people, even with Dr. Carsoto. I do not apologize because this is part of my brain, part of your brain. You can get an answer to almost any question you have on the first page of Google search. And a street vendor in Nigeria, for instance, can access more information than President Kennedy could, and in real time. So every time when I give a talk, I always ask audience, who is still handwriting letters to their parents? To my surprise, there's always one person. So today, I do not want to ask this question because I want to see no hands coming up. So literally, many years ago, a handwritten letter would cost a cheeseburger. It took 2 weeks to arrive at my parents' home. And today you can do that in real time by email, text, Facebook, WeChat, whatever. It's in real time, it's free, and you can attach pictures and video. So that's the kind of interruption we have for communication. And also Amazon knows me better than I know myself. Literally, I buy books recommended by Amazon after I bought my book on the same topic, because the books recommended by Amazon are typically better than the one I bought. And today, the biggest taxi company is Uber. And Uber is actually an IT company that does not own any taxi fleet. It's the biggest one in the world. And also the biggest hotel company in the world is Airbnb. And again, it is an IT company that does not own any property. So I have a paper check in my wallet that has not been touched for a whole year. If you want to deposit the check, you take a picture with your phone. And nearly all the routine banking activities can be done online and remotely and by your phone. So I'll give you one number here. It's kind of surprising. So in China today, 695 million people use their phones to make payments in stores. That's twice of the population of the US. It's everywhere. So besides information access, communication, retail, travel, and banking, information technology is also disrupting the education. So among 42 SBMI students who got their master's degree today, 22 did so completely online, and 12 of them are here today. I don't know if any one of you comes here in person for the first time. So basically, online technology education make high-quality informatics curriculum training available to a lot of people in Texas, across the nation, and in the world. They can do that anytime and at their own pace at any location. So medicine is the last industry that has not been fully disrupted yet, but it's happening now, at this moment, especially with recent breakthroughs in machine learning and artificial intelligence. So actually my iPhone can understand my accent better than many of you can. If I have a problem with my speech, turn on your phone, you can get help. So with real-time video image processing, Google's driverless cars have no difficulty merging into the busy traffic in San Francisco. And computers have outperformed the best human players in chess, Jeopardy, Go. And actually, as you just read an article today, the computers can make better predictions than people for the decisions made by the Supreme Court. So if you want to find a lawyer, ask a computer first. And also, computers can read skin images and can categorize the skin diseases as accurately as dermatologists today. And the X Prize Foundation just announced their award winner for the tricoder competition. So a team of brothers, literally one ER doc, one engineer, they developed a small device on iPad with a few connected sensors. It can measure 15 medical conditions, and they claim they can diagnose 90% of cases for people who go to the ER. So over the next 20 years, we will see another wave of disruptions driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence, especially in medicine. Ben Sasse, US Senator of Nebraska, recently wrote a commentary in Wall Street Journal, literally 2 weeks ago. I want to read this to you. It's very interesting, very important. I am a historian, and that usually means that I'm a killjoy. When people say we are at a unique moment in history, The historian's job is to put things in perspective by pointing out that there is more continuity than discontinuity, that we are not special, that we think our moment is unique because we are narcissists and we are at this moment. But what we are going through now, the past 20 or 30 years and the next 20 or 30 years, really is historically unique. It is probably the largest economical disruption in recorded human history. So today, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of our school. To prepare for the next 20 years of disruptions, if you want, no other gift is better than a permanent home dedicated to the school. The construction of a 45,000 square foot building for our school just began last week. I would like to ask all of you to join me to thank Dr. Colasoto, who made this a reality. So this $15 million building is a huge investment by UTHealth and by the state of Texas. The phenomenal growth of our school, especially over the past 5 years, is not so much due to our riding of the technology wave as due to the vision and the strong support of Dr. Colasoto, who sees not just the past 20 years, he is a fortune teller who can see the next 20, 30 years. I want each of the graduates sitting before me today to think of what impact you want to have on biomedical informatics and healthcare over the next 20 years. Some of what you learned at SBMI will become obsolete in a few years, especially in the rapidly changing technology environment. But the interdisciplinary thinking and the skills of lifetime learning you acquire from SBMI will prepare you well for anything you do in the future. SBMI faculty, staff, honorees, guests, family, and friends, please join me in applauding these graduates and the many accomplishments they will earn over the next 2 decades. Thank you. Let's continue our ceremony. As I introduce Ram Dixit, the 2017-2018 President of SBMI Student Governance Organization. Mr. Dixit will present both the Paul C. Bohr Award for Student Research and the John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award.
Thank you, Dean Zhang. The John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award is presented each academic year to an educator from each of the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston component schools. The faculty member who earns the award embodies excellence in teaching. In submitting their nominations, students were asked to evaluate faculty members on the following criteria: interest and enthusiasm for teaching, understanding of students, responsiveness to student inquiries, encouragement of independent thinking, and accessibility to students. I'm proud to now announce that the winner of the 2017 John P. McGovern Outstanding Teaching Award for the School of Biomedical Informatics is Dr. Todd Johnson. Sorry, I forgot that part. Congratulations, Dr. Johnson. Please come to the stage to say a few words as you accept this award. then you come, and then we should.
Oh,
Wait, no, we have to shake hands.
we have to shake hands
I think,
first.
wait.
We'll do this, then I'll say a few words. Well, thank you, and any other students who are here. Thanks, Ron. Well, it's quite an honor. I put a lot of effort into teaching and have for a long time. Jaji reminded me the other day at our end of semester poster session that I'm now the faculty member who's been here the longest, and I'm also the oldest. So it is quite an honor to do this, and I'm really glad. I've heard from a lot of you that you've really gotten a lot out of my visualization class, and really, to me, that's the best thing to hear, because it means a lot if you can take what you learn and put it into practice. So thank you.
Okay. Now I would like to recognize the outstanding student research efforts of SBMI students through the Paul C. Boyle Award for Excellence in Student Research. This award is given to an individual or first author in student informatics research. A judging panel composed of SBMI alumni, advisory council members, students or faculty determine the winner. These individuals judge poster session projects during an academic year. The recipient of the Paul C. Boyle Award for Excellence in Student Research for the fall 2016 semester was Saeed Bournejati for his poster titled Invigilance, a clinical decision support system for pediatric intensive care unit. Join me in congratulating Saeed, who is participating in the commencement ceremony this afternoon. The recipient of the Paul C. Boyle Award for Excellence in Student Research for the spring 2017 semester is SBMI PhD student Jingcheng Du for his poster titled Grant Writing Proposal, Social Media Vaccine Surveillance System. I want to congratulate Jingcheng and the graduates honored here today.
Thank you, Ram. I look forward to your tenure as the president of a student governance organization. At this time, I want to introduce SBMI alumni, faculty member, and alumni association member, Dr. Constance Johnson. Dr. Johnson, who is the Associate Dean for Research and the Lee J. Lee Jamel Distinguished Professor at UTHealth School of Nursing, will present SBMI's 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Zhang. Good afternoon, everyone. The UTHealth School of Biomedical Informatics Alumni Association was established as an important arm of SBMI to support our rapidly growing alumni population. As well as a member of the SBMI Alumni Association, each graduate who walks today will serve as an ambassador for our school and the field of informatics. While we're celebrating the accomplishments of these 24 graduates today, let us also celebrate the career and informatics contributions made by another SBMI alumna, Dr. Claire Lowe, who passed away on November 3rd of last year after a battle with cancer. Dr. Lowe earned her doctorate in health informatics in August of 2015 after defending her dissertation titled Designing for Practice Development in a Social Learning System, Communicating Norms and Vicarious Experience. During her tenure at the School of Biomedical Informatics, Claire was a Scholl Institute Fellow from 2009 to 2015. She served as a senior informatics analyst at the Public Health Informatics Institute, which is a program of the Task Force for Global Health in Decatur, Georgia. Her work was instrumental to the Task Force for Global Health, winning the 2016 Conrad Hilton Humanitarian Prize, the world's largest humanitarian award. Claire's field experience and academic training were crucial in establishing new evaluation techniques used by the Public Health Informatics Institute to assess the impact of its technical guidance and training material. She directed the Public Health Informatics efforts on electronic case reporting of infectious disease and led case studies of informatics innovations conducted by partners and local public health agencies. In February of this year, the Public Health Informatics Institute established the Claire Lowe Memorial Library, a lending library for staff in Claire's honor. Prior to her time at the Public Health Informatics Institute, Claire was a Public Health Informatics Fellow at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. For 16 years, Dr. Lowe was a partner and owner of a health promotion consulting firm that worked in adolescent sexuality, reproductive health, and migrant health, where she witnessed the detrimental effects limited access to data has on community health. In Claire's honor, the Lowe family, Dean Zhang, Claire's friends, colleagues, and supporters worked together to establish an endowed scholarship fund. The award will benefit PhD students by providing funds for items vital to the completion of work, but often left to for the students to cover. This fund, which will exist into perpetuity, is Claire's way of helping those who come behind her over the hurdles faced on the pathway to dissertation completion. In 1982, Claire graduated from the High School for Performing and Visual Arts, then went on to study at the University of Texas at Austin for her undergraduate education and received her BA in Latin American Studies in 1987. Dr. Lowe earned her Master's of Public Health with a focus in health education and health behavior from the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill in 1992. I ask you all to join me in celebrating Dr. Claire Lowe, winner of the 2017 SBMI Distinguished Alumna Award. Claire's father, the renowned Dr. Hardy Lowe, and her mother, Lee Lowe, are here today to accept this award on Claire's behalf. The Lowe family prepared this statement for this afternoon. Thank you for supporting Claire in her pursuit of her PhD in biomedical informatics and for recognizing her unique talents and qualities, her perseverance and vision with this award. She did the school proud as a member of Georgia's Task Force for Global Health, which won the 2016 Conrad N. Hilton Humanitarian Prize for having made a profound impact on alleviating human suffering. It is with pride and sadness that we accept this distinguished award for Claire. And I have So we'll now view a video recognizing Claire's time at SBMI and her accomplished career.
And I'd like to introduce you to a remarkable person, my friend Claire Lowe, who passed away November 3rd of cancer.
As Claire's advisor, I'm not at all surprised that she won the Distinguished Alumna Award. From the time that she's been a grad student and her contributions at SBMI, it's been clear that she is a great representative for what this program wants to be and who we want to produce. She went from our program and contributing here on the Sharp-C program and various other projects to her CDC fellowship, where she worked on the STD prevention programs. Almost immediately from completing her dissertation, 3 days later, she started her position at the Task Force for Global Health, being part of the Public Health Informatics Institute. It was her dream job. And in her work there, she contributed to all of their amazing efforts that were recognized as part of the Conrad Hilton Humanitarian Award. Claire's contributions to the field of informatics, the field of public health informatics, are ongoing and long-term. She's provided models for how we can understand how people learn and acquire behaviors to practice as community health workers. She's given qualitative methods and programs to the Public Health Institute. And at our school, she's going to continue giving to our students through the Claire Lowe Scholarship. Claire's amazing contributions to our field will be felt for a long time to come, and she is an excellent, excellent choice for the Distinguished Alumni Award.
Not only was Claire an informaticist who worked improving public health, but she was also a humanitarian, an activist, and an optimist. She dedicated her life to improving the situation of the less fortunate, working with lay health workers. All too often the word passionate is overused, but in fact Claire was the embodiment of the word. When MD Anderson physicians told her there were no more options for treating her cancer, her reaction was not one of feeling sorry for herself or even sorrow for her family. Instead, her first words were, "My work. I have to finish my work." So, I think Claire would be humbled by this award, and I know her family is pleased that she was selected to receive it.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I also want to thank the Lowe family for attending our ceremony today and giving us the honor of recognizing Claire. Let's give them another round of applause. I would also like to let everyone know that we're in the process of setting up a Dr. Jing Chun Sung Scholarship. In January of this year, SBMI lost Dr. Jing Chun Sung, or as many of us know, Sunny, after her long-fought battle with cancer. She was an assistant professor at SBMI and a brilliant colleague and peer. Our school and the bioinformatics community suffered tremendous loss with her passing. Sunny's legacy of excellence in research is not all that will be missed, as she was both a kind of dear friend to so many at SBMI. We will announce the recipient of Dr. Jing Chun Sung Scholarship at our graduation next year. At this time, I'm honored to introduce our commencement speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Benjamin Chu. Dr. Chu was appointed President and CEO of Memorial Hermann Health System in 2016. In his role, Dr. Chu is responsible for the system's new 300 care delivery sites with more than 25,000 employees and 5,500 affiliated physicians in the Houston area. Dr. Chu's appointment as President and CEO marks the first time in Memorial Hermann's history a physician leads the system. Dr. Chu says that he is first and foremost a clinician who became an administrator because he wanted to change the healthcare delivery system to a more effective, outcome-oriented, patient-centric model. Dr. Chu brings more than 4 decades of healthcare experience as a clinician, administrator, and policy advocate. Dr. Chu passionately believes that the quality of patient care and patient safety are the highest importance. He also places a strong emphasis on physician integration and population health. Prior to joining Memorial Hermann, Dr. Chu served as the group president for Kaiser Permanente's Southern California and Georgia regions. Dr. Chu has been repeatedly recognized for his innovative thought in the healthcare industry and has had a number of executive roles throughout his prestigious career. In 2015, he was elected to the National Academy of Medicine and was recognized as one of modern healthcare's 100 most influential people in healthcare in 2016. Dr. Chu earned his medical degree at New York University. He earned his master's degree in public health from Columbia and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Yale. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Benjamin Chu.
Thank you very much, Dean Tsang. Good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations to the class of 2017. Now, I hope you will join me to thank the people in this room who have been most supportive of you, your friends, your family, your spouses, your siblings, and your professors. So would you join me in thanking them as well? I will say, Dean Tsang, that those of us who try to measure the world's progress from the point of view of how many of the Star Trek gizmos came into being, we betray our age, that we really do. And of course, I'm one who, which especially when I'm driving to work, wanting to figure out how they're going to beam me to work, right, and beam me home. So we're not quite there, for all of us Trekkies. I was wondering, well, I've given commencement addresses before, but never to a school of biomedical informatics, right? So I figured, well, what am I going to do? So I went on the internet, believe it or not, and I watched last year's commencement from Dr. John Halamka, who was waving his cell phone. This is a really good thing this is really the trademark for bioinformatics, right? We all waving our cell phones because our cell phones have so much computing power and so many capabilities that of course it's a very easy symbol for what you guys are going to represent. And he talked a little bit about the breakdown in the geographical and the temporal barriers to getting care, right? How consumerism will be actually informed by the ability to actually reach out to providers really 24 hours, 7 days a week, regardless of where you are in the world. And I think that that's actually true. So I decided that I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to wave a cell phone in front of you, and I'm not going to talk about the computer age and the internet world. But what I am going to talk to you about is something that everyone talks about, but no one really knows what we all mean, right? Because everyone has a separate definition of what population health means, right? I'm sure you've heard that. I come at this from the point of view of a primary care doctor. I'm an internist by training, and I used to, when I took care of patients on a regular basis, just like everyone else, right? The unit of care was the face-to-face visit. You came in to see me. I got the chart. More often than not, I got the chart. I worked for a public hospital system where more often than not, I actually didn't get the chart. So it was the physician desk reference and the color of the pill that told me what was going on. Thank God, computers have actually helped us, really get better at tracking our patients. But even with computers, if you actually look at the unit of care, your doctor really doesn't know what your issues are, what progress you've made, what gaps there are in your care management until they actually see you, right? Because how many people can actually do an audit on a regular basis of all of the thousands of patients you take care of? So the unit of care is targeted towards when you actually come in front of somebody. And that has been tried and true. The underlying assumption of healthcare and the care of medicine is that the sum total of all that one-on-one interaction all across the world, all across America, will lead to a healthier population, right? That's basically how we function in the healthcare world. Now, all you have to do is look at different populations, different segments of the population, and you see that that's not necessarily true, right? The sum total of all those interactions doesn't necessarily lead to a healthier population. For one, you never know whether somebody is actually working with you or compliant or understands what the care plan is, and then you don't really know what happens in between the times that you actually see your patient, right? So actually, when you think about it, the average number of patient visits that any American spends with their doctor is 4 a year, right? And usually, how much time do most people spend with you? Well, the average is between 13 and 15 minutes, believe it or not. So if you add it all up, 4 times a year, 15 minutes a shot, it's 1 hour a year that somebody actually has, your clinician has, to influence your health. So how could we possibly think that that time and effort we put into, that one-on-one care experience will lead to a systematic approach to population health? It just doesn't happen, right? So what I actually when the computers came on board, we were able to track more effectively, all of the things that were part of the history. It really became an imperative to begin to analyze what was actually in those records, right? So as a clinician, if I had 2,000 patients, it's really nice to know that if we had smart registries that could examine all of the clinical information in there and begin to look at algorithms to try to define strategies to maximize somebody's care, kick out those strategies and tell us where the gaps are in the thousands of patients I took care of. That's actually an innovation, right? So if we knew ahead of time or at any given time what we could be doing for all of our patients that could actually lead to a healthier outcome, that is truly an innovation. So actually, I did that. We did that at Kaiser Permanente. One of the first things that we did was we built all these sophisticated population care management tools. We actually have them now in varying degrees at Memorial Hermann. And I thought, if I'm a doctor, this is really a treasure. It's a treasure trove of information. I now know, and on a real-time basis, what's going on with my patients. So I went to our doctors thinking they're going to pat me on the back, right? I was able to give it to them, and I went to. This is a true story. I went to on a Saturday to get my car washed in Pasadena, and I ran into one of our doctors, thinking that, wow, all of this great information is now available. So they're going to really be congratulating me for getting it all done. And I just got an earful of complaints about the life of it's true, like an earful of complaints about how miserable their life is and how horrible it is to practice medicine when and I had to think about this for a moment. In the good old days when I didn't really know where the gaps were in my patients' care, right? I mean, I could just sort of go along, tool along, thinking that, okay, I gave somebody a prescription, I gave them my talk about what they could be doing to stay healthy, and I'd send them home and hope that everything worked out. Well, now a computer system is telling me, a population care management registry is telling me that in the 2,000 patients that I have, there are 4,561 things that I could be doing to keep my patients healthier. Well, what clinician could possibly address that? There's just no way. I mean, so it's a formula for very depressed primary care doctors, I have to tell you. And that is exactly what we started to find, that people got really upset. And it actually calls into question the value of a systematic approach to dealing with these gaps in care. And that's exactly what we ended up doing at Kaiser. We actually built systems around the doctors to be able to help the doctors address those care. And then really every point of contact. So for example, if you called in for an appointment to a dermatologist, which, Jaji, now you're telling us that a pattern recognition computer could probably do a better job treating a dermatological problem. But if you call in for an appointment, the person who took your call can identify. We gave them tools to show that you needed a mammogram, your last blood pressure was not controlled, and we could direct you to areas where you could address that gap. And slowly but surely, believe it or not, all of those gaps, those thousands of gaps that people had in their panels, started shrinking, and we were able to control things that we knew could lead to better health. So just to give you an example, if you look at the adult population in the United States, about 25% of the adult population will have hypertension, right? Either identified or not. So in some series, it's actually as high as maybe 30%. Well, what percentage of those people with high blood pressure? Relatively simple, right? To control, actually have it controlled. Well, now in America, it's maybe somewhere between 55 and 60%. If you're actually in a reasonably good, well-run system. Well, at Kaiser, we were actually getting 90% of our hypertensives controlled, but just by systematically looking at and trying to address that. So that's an example of population health that, in the aggregate, should lead to better control, right? And one of the other things that I love talking about is, everyone, if you're over the age of 50, everyone wants you to go in and have colon cancer screening, right? And there are a whole variety of ways to do it, but the gold standard is really a colonoscopy, which is no fun, by the way, to have. But in this day of anesthesia, it's actually a pleasant sleep. Everything is done, and it's all over. I've had two of them, so one without propofol and one with propofol. Better with the propofol, let me tell you. Anyway, so one of the things that we were able to do is increase our screening rates for our over 50 population to about 82%, which is a very big jump, because most people are still in the 40s and 50s if you look at population care studies. But colon cancer is one of those potentially not only preventable diseases, and certainly controllable disease if you catch it earlier, but it's preventable because it generally follows a polypoid stage. You get polyps, they progress to colon cancer. And so if you actually take out those polyps before they become cancerous, it's preventable. So you should see with higher screening rates, not 100%, but with higher screening rates, you should in the population begin to see lower prevalence of colon cancer. And that is, in fact, what we saw at Kaiser. Remember, we had almost 11 million people in our health plan that we followed longitudinally for many, many years. So you could see the effects of those strategies in your population. So I think that one of the things that we could begin to do, and smart registries are actually fairly reasonably easy to start to pull together. Mainly, you got to get people to contribute the data on a regular basis, and that's actually harder to do. I know because Memorial Hermann's not in the Houston. Everybody tells me that all the time. So we're going to get in and contribute data. But if you actually had that data on a large population and could systematically analyze it, you could in fact design these tools relatively easily. And it's important and imperative that the health system designs ways to use that information, right? So in the whole field of bioinformatics, I actually wanted to make a pitch for the fact that it has to be usable information. It has to be intuitive and usable. The tools have to be readily available so that the clunky health system that we actually have that's relatively fragmented could organize around trying to get the results that could lead to a healthier population. So those are just a couple of examples. But one of the things that I wanted to leave you with, I want to stretch our imagination a little bit, is if you actually think about large data sets like this and the computing power that Dr. Dean Zhang told us about, it is amazing how much information there is. In fact, too much information for us to process. Human beings just can't process it and can't put it into usable formats. But computers can, right? Computers are getting more and more powerful so that the pattern recognition abilities are really quite extraordinary. So it takes really smart people who are beyond Star Trek, I have to tell you, to begin to think about all of the potential uses of this incredible database. And I actually think that with artificial intelligence and machine learning, we could actually do a lot more, right? Dean Zhang talked a little bit about how Amazon knew more about his habits than he did, and I actually think that's true. I mean, if you actually look at a whole set of applications that people have used, and up to, and by the way, including the approach to elections. People are, getting more and more sophisticated and beginning to analyze, our habits, our buying habits, our demographics, the things that we say, what we put on Facebook, and they're beginning to get more and more sophisticated at analyzing our tendencies, right? So if you think about the application of behavioral economics to this kind of database, we can begin to think about that whole murky area of population health. Many people talk a lot about, well, what are the drivers of health? And healthcare actually is given only a small percentage of the possibility for getting us to a healthier state. I mean, it's mainly behaviors. It's a little bit of some of it is genetics, but things, our behaviors, our health habits, our eating habits, all contribute a lot more to in the aggregate to whether the population is healthier or not. And I think that's generally true. Depending on what you read and who you believe, it's 80% or more of the factors that drive health are non-medical, right? Because remember, medical care generally happens towards the end of a disease process, right? So there's years and years of a run-up to developing illnesses, and the interventions could actually intervene much earlier. So if you really think that 40 or 50% of somebody's health and or the entire population's health is attributed to behaviors, right? Whether we smoke, whether we overeat, whether we exercise, whether we can develop lasting, loving relationships, all really important. Our educational level of attainment, all of those factors could actually be influenced more by non-medical interventions. And how do you know what the right interventions are? Well, it's not always easy, right? Depends on your demographics, the families you come from, the neighborhoods you live in, your conditions. But I actually think that going forward, with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, and with the pooling of lots of different databases, we could actually develop clues as to how to actually intervene to get people. I mean, this is, I know, sounds a little creepy, NSA stuff, where people are intruding in your life and your habits, but what I'm talking about is just trying to understand from all of these databases what actually might help, move somebody to adopting a healthier lifestyle, right? Or stopping a drug habit, or and so much of it is really understanding, well, what are the factors that can get people to adopt different lifestyles? Is it somebody in an organization like a church that can actually coalesce around an individual to help? Is it friends and families? Is it or is it some other intervention or some other behavioral economic type of pathway, right? So I think that is a whole area of uncharted work that we need good, smart bioinformaticists to begin to think about. How do we use these very, very large, sophisticated databases, not to predict what not necessarily just to predict whether I can get you to buy more of this or that, but how do I actually understand, your tendencies and behaviors, and maybe open up a possibility, open up a world that could invite you to live a healthier lifestyle. I mean, I just want you to think about that in a minute, just to think through with me that computers and pattern recognition can be, can actually begin to do that for us. And the thing about artificial intelligence is, if you postulate a theory and you go about and try to evaluate whether those interventions work, well, the traditional way of doing research is your tried and true, randomized controlled trial, right? You get, you get a cohort where you do the intervention, and a cohort that you don't do the intervention, you try to control for all of the factors that intervene, and then lo and behold, 10 or 15 years later, whatever you find is adopted into practice, right? Well, we don't have time for that, to tell you the truth. There is the need for a new paradigm of research, and I think that the paradigm has to involve the use of large data sets, the use of pattern recognition, sort of real-time assessments as to whether or not something is working, because life happens. You know, we're all living, and we're getting more data all the time, and you know, you can begin with large aggregate populations of millions of people. You might actually be able to discern, you know, patterns that actually could be much more significant in terms of its effectiveness by analyzing and learning and changing your strategy along the way than to do it in a randomized controlled trial where you're trying to control things that are not always controllable, and you're doing it with small cohorts of people, and you're actually looking for significance over a long period of time. So I'm going to leave you with that. One of the things I learned from John Halamka is keep it short and sweet. And so I just want you to begin to think about, you graduates, because it's your world. And hey, it would be great to get the transporter and the tricorder and all that stuff. But I actually think that in the field of population health, we need brand new strategies, brand new uses of large data sets that are more and more becoming more readily available. And stay out of the creepy stuff. You know, don't spy on me and make me do things that I don't want to do. But if there is a strategy that could get me to look at my life in a different way and get me to live more healthy, well, give me that option. So thank you very much, and congratulations again to you and to the families and friends who have supported them, and always thank you to the faculty.
Thank you, Dr. Chu, for your time being with us and your inspiring words. Let's give Dr. Chu a loud round of applause. We will now recognize our 2016-2017 graduates. I would like to ask our candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics and the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston School of Biomedical Informatics to please rise. Dr. Carter Soto, on behalf of the faculty of UTHealth School of Biomedical Informatics, it's my pleasure to certify to you that the candidates who stand before you have successfully completed all academic requirements for either the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics or the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics.
I'm here. It'll be official soon, okay? By virtue of the authority vested by the State of Texas Board of Regents of the University of Texas System and delegated by them to me, I now confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics and the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics, for which you have been recommended with all rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligation. Thank you for trusting UTHealth with your education. Congratulations.
We will now have Dr. Susan Fenton, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, to call each of the graduates for us as we recognize them.
Will the master's graduates please come forward as their name is called? Vishwajit Agera, Faculty Advisor Dr. Robert Murphy, State of the Science paper, Change Management, Readiness for Competitive Marketplace Apps in Hospitals. Dinesh Banjara, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Robert Murphy, Capstone Project, Clinical Decision Support, Alert Data Analysis and Visualization. Mike Bowie Haddix, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Juliana Brixey, Capstone Project, Beers Criteria, Analyzing Alerts from an Informatics Perspective to Improve Patient Safety. Pratik Chowdhury, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Trevor Cohen, Capstone Project, to redesign order set template in the Epic electronic health record system to improve provider satisfaction. Charles Cotton, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kimberly Smith, State of the Science paper, Data Analysis for the Veterinary Electronic Medical Record Adoption Survey. Ifan Don, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Amy Franklin, State of the Science paper, M.Health Applications for the Treatment of Depression, Exploring Theory, Format, and Duration of Intervention. Isela de la Cerda, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Angela Ross, Capstone Project, Transitioning from Paper-Based Clinical Pathways to Electronic Clinical Pathways in a Research-Based Institution. Andrea Espinoza, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Angela Ross, Capstone Project, HASA Information Organization Medicare Support Program. Sahitha Gujala, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Hua Zhu, Capstone Project, Beacon Epic Oncology Project, Implementation of Evidence-Based Medicine Protocols, Treatment Plans, and Therapy Plans. Pamela Lewis, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong, Capstone Project, Evaluating the Effectiveness of IBM Watson for Clinical Trial Matching, Express Edition for Lung Cancer Trials. Holly Lucas, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong, Capstone Project, Comparative Analysis of 2015, 2016, and 2017 Case Mix Index for Children's Health. Jignesh Moda, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Sahidi Mainini, Capstone Project, Supporting an Electronic Health Record Upgrade through Workflow Analysis. Nika Wame, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kimberly Smith. Capstone Project, Brevitest Innovation Project, Development of HL7 Message Specifications for Point-of-Care ELISA Device. Saeed Pornajati, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Waju. Capstone Project, Invigilance, a real-time clinical decision support system for pediatric intensive care unit. Ume Rumana, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong. Capstone Project, Development and Testing of Nursing Workload Acuity Decision Aid in the EPIC EHR. Digant Shah, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Sahidi Mainini. Capstone Report, CMS QualityNet Data Abstraction and Workflow Modification. Ajish Sunny, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Trevor Cohen. Capstone Report, Reducing Racial and Ethnic Disparities in Colorectal Cancer Screening, a comprehensive EMR-based patient navigation module, including technology-driven CRC outreach and education. Marshall Tam, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Susan Fenton. Capstone Report, Reporting Workbench and Hospital Outpatient Departments. Michael Taylor, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kimberly Smith. Capstone Report, Development of HL7 Messaging Specification for Point-of-Care Lab Testing, a project for Brevitest handheld ELISA device. Galavila, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong. Capstone Report, an evaluation of clinicians' response to sepsis alerts triggered by a cloud-based algorithm. Yuja Zhou, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong. Capstone Report, Alternatives to Relational Databases, using graph database to present and query clinical data. Will the doctoral students please come forward as your name is called? Will the faculty advisors for Min Jiang please come to the stage? Min Jiang. Committee Chair, Dr. Waju. Committee members, Dr. Trevor Cohen and Dr. Shui Tao. Dissertation title, Improving Syntactic Parsing of Clinical Text Using Domain Knowledge. Stay there, Wah. Stay there. Stay there. Will the faculty advisors for Chen Liang please come to the stage? Chair, Dr. Yang Gong. Committee members, Dr. Trevor Cohen, Dr. Shui Tao, and Dr. Waju. Dissertation title, Understanding Patient Safety Reports via Multi-Label Text Classification and Semantic Representation. Congratulations, new alumni. We celebrate your achievements and those of the following SBMI graduates who could not attend the commencement ceremony today. Our summer 2016 doctoral graduate, Jose Frank Diaz Vasquez, dissertation title, Data Gauge, a model-driven framework for systematically assessing the quality of clinical data for secondary use. Our summer 2016 master's graduates, Peggy Mancuso and Mary Helen Mays. Our fall 2016 master's graduates, Matthew Bouchard and Andrew Chang, Zhui Chao Ding, Robert Fry, Carla Millen, Kai Nguyen. Olubukunolu Okulate, Aditawama Ogantanga, Siddharth Patel, Michael Stegman, Andrew Winburn, Xiaohan Zhang. Our spring 2017 master's graduates, Han Chen, Kanan Garg, Ethan Kilgar, Heather McCarthy, Sahar Mimo, Anita Walden, and Benita Wozniak. Please give a round of applause for all of our graduates as we recognize their accomplishments this afternoon.
Graduates, you may now move your tassel from the right to your left. Congratulations. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to ask all School of Biomedical Informatics faculty and adjunct faculty, please to rise. We thank each of you for your dedication to educating today's graduates. Please be seated. I would like to invite all family members and friends of our graduates to stand. Our graduates would not be where they are today without your support, guidance, and love. While you are not working on the stage today, we want to recognize you for your important contribution. I want to thank our special guests who have joined us today, Dr. Chu, Dr. Cardosoto, Dr. Blackburn, and Dr. Stansel. We truly appreciate your participation in today's commencement ceremony. I want to also thank the staff of the School of Biomedical Informatics. You have worked so hard to make this ceremony a success. And to our students and alumni, without you, would not be here today to celebrate this happy occasion. And we want to recognize all of you as well. We will now conclude our commencement ceremony